Hello and welcome to Coffee and Bonsai with Tom. Today we're going to do some summer updates. We're just ending summer and I kind of want to give a glimpse of these trees. I did a bench tour not long ago, but I'm going to call this a tree tour of trees that I've been working on. This is my Hobbit Jade forest. These were three single trees. You can see my playlist for this, and I called them the Three Sisters, and I've combined them into this forest. And it has really taken off. It's very, very happy growing this way, and you can see the sun shining on it. Looks great. I'm just gonna clean. I have some bamboo along the side of my house, and the leaves kind of fall into my tree, so I regularly have to pick that out. But yeah, this one is really taking off. You can see this main tree. All these trees were about the same size when I put them in here, and luckily the large tree is kind of taken off, and I want to move this to a yeah, that was a leaf that fell, and you can see it's got some nice roots. I'm just going to put it somewhere where I want another tree, and I think I want it right here. I think when I planted this, there was a little baby we put there, which I think a bird got it or something. It's gone. So I'm going to put this one here because I think this would be a fabulous place for yet another tiny little baby Hobbit Jade. And so we're going to begin with the forests. We'll look at tree tour of forests, and then we'll move on to some of my other trees that I have, most recently worked on. So next up we have this is my standard jade forest, Crassula ovata, in this bright red pot. And recently we gave this a severe pruning, so you can see it's recovered nicely. So never be afraid to prune these jades hard. It's looking fabulous. I'm getting this nice tight growth, which is what I was after. And I could actually probably prune a few of these back, but I'm just going to let it go for now. But I think it looks great. And you can see, just your standard jade plant, you can really reduce the leaves quite a bit. This one seems to have lucked out, doesn't have a lot of bamboo leaves on it. So we'll just let it grow and keep going. I want to show you a little bit of the top of it here. Just because if you want to, yeah, I'll do some progression growth like in the winter when things slow down. But if you want to compare this to the last video, you can see we've got quite a bit of foliage in there. So here we have my Hobbit Jade, and I'm going to call this one my Rodney Dangerfield Jade because it just gets no respect. People don't seem to like this video, but I find it quite charming. And this one is, I did these all as cuttings at the end of last winter, so they had no roots. I just dried them out a little bit and put them in here, and boy, you can really see it's just robustly healthy now and taken off. So, it's quite easy to create jade forests from even a large plant. They root so readily. And then I also did some landscape work in this. I'm trying with the black lava, which I really like, with the white pod and the green and the bark. The bronze bark really pops. Got a leaf in there from my lilac tree. And you see you get these old leaves. You can just kind of pull those off periodically. But this is always one of my favorite forests. And hopefully I will get it to a point someday where it gets a bit more respect, perhaps. Just want to show you this from the top as well. You can see it's nice and full and has really filled out, and it's just looking fantastic. So next up, let's take a look at my minis. Here's my Mame Tree. These are always popular. We pruned these, I don't know, maybe a month ago. I'm not exactly sure. They still look pretty good. You can see there's a few nips and tucks, which certainly would make sense to do here. There's little blues. Could use a little bit of, I got a weed here, kind of get that out of there. But these are just great. I really just enjoy working with these. And, definitely check out my video. I think I have a Mame playlist, and you can see, where I've worked on this and worked on these trees individually. And I just find it, so rewarding. So, if you don't have a lot of space and if you like working with small trees like I do, this is just a great way to do it. Here's one of my cascades. This is one of my favorites. And this guy, it's a Manny Portar Afra, and it really likes to grow. But boy, you can see how small these leaves are. And if you just come in like this and regularly cut it back to a couple sets of leaves, you just get really nice tight growth, and it's sort of easy to control and keeps it small. So I really enjoy that whole process. um, with these tiny trees. And like I said, I can't recommend it enough. And you can just see they're just so charming. Uh, this one also probably haven't pruned it in a while. I think I did a video on it last time I pruned it. Pruned it back pretty hard, and just take off the old leaves. You can see I've got kind of a leaf in the back there that looks a little crispy, so that could have been one from when it first came out in the summer, just an old leaf. They tend to eventually kind of fall off. But yeah, the it's looking pretty good. I think I do want to prune these ones in the back. This one just really grows like wildfire. I'm quite sure it's escaped quite deeply into this pot. So I respond by just cutting it back very harshly, and it just barely slows down and just shoots out some new growth. And like I said, it's easy to just come in here and give them a bit of a pruning here and there to constrain them. And so that's the update on the mames. I apologize, by the way, for Mabel in the background singing for us. You may have heard the garbage truck on the far side of the house, and she does not appreciate garbage pickup in the least. So next up we have sort of my Crassula ovata tray, and a surprise, absolutely gorgeous red and green Aeonium there in the middle, which I really just I sort of had given up on those. I gave a larger one away, and I kept this tiny one, which is the one that's there. And I've really come to appreciate it. I really I like its color combination. But yeah, this is some of my other succulents. I've got, I guess most of these are Crosby Jade. You can see this one, which I've had in here for a while. It's got beautiful red on the underside of the leaves. I'm not sure why the variety directly behind it in this one here. Same variety, but just seems to have a different behavior. So interesting to me, given that they're just a few inches apart. But that's how it goes. Here's a tiny little, it's got some escape roots, just a tiny little jade in a little pot. And, I like to see how small I can get the leaves and constrain the growth. And you can go pretty far. This one is, you can see it's growing roots out the bottom. It's quite happy. It needs a prune, but I'm going to let it stretch its legs a bit longer. Probably do that later in the fall. And yeah, these are just growing quite well. You can see this one, little forest, also needs a trim. I have a video of when I created those two as a pair. You can check that out in my playlist section if you want. But yeah, they're well rooted and well established, and just waiting for some pruning. And we'll get to that probably, certainly before winter. So next up we have, this is a standard Portar Afra forest. I did a kind of a severe pruning on this in a recent video. Check the playlist if you want to see that. But it has recovered quite well and is really getting dense and lots of new growth, which is, what I was hoping and expecting to happen. And it just looks great. Like, these are all cuttings off a larger Portar Afra that I have. You can see some spiders are protecting it, which I think I'll be showing that one to you in a little bit later here, because that also had a severe pruning. And what I like to do this with these is kind of balance out the growth a little, so the tops really just take off on these. And so I just regularly kind of prune them back a bit like this, because I really want to encourage the lower branches growth, and so you're just redirecting the energy here. And so that's what I'm doing. I'll tend to, if it's unhealthy, I just let it run. But, these have been in here for a little while, and I think they have a decent root system. And so I kind of want to encourage them to get more dense in the areas where I want them to grow. And here's a great example of, you can see these old leaves, and I've got these two new leaves that have come out. Well, you no longer need the old ones when that happens, and if you just cut them off, it just looks a lot better. It's tighter, it's smaller, and those old leaves will eventually just kind of get kind of rotty looking as well. So you may as well just get rid of them. But doesn't hurt if you want to keep them. They will probably last for quite a while before they, decide to abandon the tree on their own accord. But yeah, this one's looking great, and my plan, I'll just let it grow for the rest of, until I have to take them inside, and then I'm going to put this one under lights and just continue developing it until it goes outside next year. Here's another forest. We're still in the forest section of the tree tour. This is Variegated. I pruned this one back pretty hard in a recent video, and you can see it's recovered. I just love the new growth on this. Just look at how, well, the trunk's nice there, but look at this pink growth. You just get these pink leaves like all over the place. So with the new growth, and then they kind of slowly turn more of this greenish striped yellow. And I just, I love. I'm really looking forward to this forest and where it kind of goes in the future. Um, because they grow so compact and so small. So I'm excited about that one. So next up we have my rainbow dwarf jade. This is Medio Picta, and it's just, I mean, look at the color on this. This is amazing. I have not done anything to this. I pruned it. You can check the playlist. I don't know. I think it was even the end of last winter, and I haven't touched it since then. I'm just letting it grow. I think I have an idea for a project. I think I'm going to pull this apart and plant these on my lava rock pot, which is also in my playlist. I think that it would look really cool with that. So next up we have this is my Mane Forest. These were separate trees, and I kind of put them together in this pot, and it has just shot out like a weed since then. It's really grown. I had cut these back fairly hard, and I mean, you can see it's just really developed quite well. And I also have all these babies from leaves that had fallen down. So I'm just going to quickly come in here and neaten it up a bit and just try to, I don't want it to just grow in this unwieldy fashion. I want to sort of, give it some feedback. So I'm just going to quickly cut it back. But yeah, we had some intermittent rain, so I was pulling my tarp on and off my trees, and this one, it's very brittle, the new growth in this, and I think ports in general, but this one in particular, because it's so full of water, it's like celery and it just snaps. And just from the tarp hitting the top, it kind of broke off a bunch of leaves, which then fell down and have just sprouted like crazy in the surface there. So I'm just going to let it go. And like I said, I just want to quickly bring this back into line, and I have some folks lined up that want some cuttings from this. So these are some pretty long cuttings. I think they'll be fine to send off, and I can restore my triangular shape here and just let this bonsai forest go until spring. And you can see the bark is actually taking off interesting character here now. It's kind of looking, the trunks are actually developing some bark, and really interesting. I haven't seen a lot of this variety that's like older stock. I mean, I see it in Home Depot and whatnot, but it's usually just basically sprigs. So I'm very curious to see how this looks over time. If anyone has links to that or their own pictures, please post it, because I'm curious. It looks like it's just going to be a fabulously well aging bark, and I'm super excited to see where it goes in the future. But I think I better slow down on the pruning here. I just want to do some speed pruning, and we've restored a nice shape to it, and we'll move on to the next tree. This tree is it's Adenium, so a desert rose, and it's just a beautiful tree. I mean, it's got a nice shape. I mean, look at the trunk on this. I've done, I got this bare rooted. It actually had no roots. I guess close to 2 years ago. This is my second season of growing it, and I just put it in this pot that it's in, and you know, it looks healthy. I've not pruned it at all, but I think it has a nice shape, and you can see the trunk is just fat on this thing. And my goal here is to, it's like a hand wide, is to get it to bloom, which I haven't been able to do, but I have a new strategy for this fall, so I'm going to try and see if that works. But yeah, it's a neat plant. I would love to see it bloom. I want to know what color it is. And it's really got a nice shape, particularly since I haven't pruned it at all, and it's always been really healthy for me. And I am just dying to see what it looks like in bloom. I've actually tried to give it away a couple times, and at this point, I'm sort of glad I didn't. Although you'll see the trunk. Again, I'll do a progression video. Like this trunk gets down to like 1/3 this size in the summer. It's got a beautiful pot by Candied Clay. I really like the pot. I think it matches the planting quite well. So next up we have what I call my OG Dwarf Jade. This is also a cork bark. It hasn't really done corking yet, but boy, the trunk to me looks like it's really getting ready to start that. And this is, I put the philosophers pointing towards the front. So this is what I'm currently seeing is the front. Oh, look, we have a nice bee coming in. How delightful. Trying to pollinate my Portulacaria. Um, but yeah, I think it looks, it just gets more and more charming. I cut this back quite a bit recently, and you can see as the new growth comes in, it really kind of softens the whole thing and gives it a nice look. There you can see the size of the trunk compared to my hand, and we'll take a little spin here. I'm pulling the branches down. This is the port that I think I've had the longest. I'll zoom in here. You can sort of see the top. I kind of splayed it out a bit in the last video, and again, that's in my playlist. You can check that out. All my trees have their own playlists, so you can go and look at the last one. But yeah, I think it's got a lot of ramification, and I'm getting a lot of branches, and I'm just looking forward to its future growth. So next up, I'll give you a little update on, this was a tree that was in a much smaller pot. This is one of my ports. I think it's actually a cork bark. And I put in this Hattori pot because I want to grow it out a bit. And you can see it's responding really well. I'm tempted to prune it now, but I don't think I will. I have folks that are really looking for cuttings, so I'm going to let these grow a few more sets of leaves. And here's its sort of partner in crime. I repotted these both around the same time, and they're both. I got these both from cuttings at a club meeting less than 2 years ago. So you can see you can develop stuff pretty quickly. I think this is the back actually. We'll spin this one around, but I'm just going to let them grow and get some cuttings that I can share with folks, because I think both of these trees have good genes, for the lack of a better description, and I think people would really enjoy sort of cloning these. So here we have my river jade, what I call my river jade, and it's just a regular Portulacaria, although I think it is some sort of interesting variety because it kind of grows down and the leaves are really small, and it takes the branches a long time to um, harden. So I don't know if it's a mix of Prostrata and Lilliput, but I really like it, whatever it is. And yeah, it's just been, I pruned it pretty heavily not that long ago, and you can see it's kind of recovered. And I'll just kind of take that downward facing growth off. And yeah, this is one of the trees that I really like. Next up, we have my rainbow jade in a bunsen pot. I'm really just including this one because I just recently pruned it. And look at this thing. Like, this is normally a slow growing plant, and I don't know if it's because it's enjoying the cooler, end of summer, early fall weather or what, but it is just taking off and growing a lot of branches. And yeah, it's just looking great. Here we have, this is a Goleem Jade I worked on pretty heavily in a recent video. Cut it way back, and you can see it's responded really well. I'm getting shoots out absolutely everywhere where I'd want them, and it's really taking off. I'm just going to grow this out. I really want it to get some height and smooth out, some of these harsh cuts that are kind of flat across, and, it'll sort of as it grows, that'll fill in and it'll, look very natural. You'll never even know I cut it. But yeah, this is early stage, but looking really healthy and just vibrant. And it's growing leaves everywhere I want it to. I'll probably take that one out of the sort of the crotch there. But yeah, I think this will be a great little plant. Here's one I pruned in the same video. I didn't get quite as lucky with this one. I think it'll be fine, but it has not um, vigorously shot out new growth everywhere like the previous plant. Although it definitely it's done a good job. You can see here the top's looking great, and these little shoots out the side. I mean, there were no leaves at all there previously, so it has definitely it's definitely responded reasonably well. I mean, the one problem area is this little branch on the left, and it really has not done anything there yet. So, I'm not giving up yet. I am hoping that we'll get some branching out there. And, also as I look at this, I still think, it has a nice fat trunk, but it's sort of, I don't know, it's kind of a tall, uninteresting trunk. I'm just going to scar this a little bit. I've noticed, sometimes that kind of directs some energy there and it'll start growing. But yeah, so I'm less happy. You win some, you lose some. I'm a little less happy with how this plant has turned out. But I'll deal with what comes, and I will perhaps, I don't know, maybe cut it down further. But I'm not going to do anything until spring. I'm just going to let it recover and get a lot healthier for now. But yeah, I'm not super happy with that. Here's one of my larger Portar Afra pre-bonsai, I would call it. And I really cut this back hard. It had all these long branches, and I just kind of brought it back to a conical shape in an effort to get it to bud back closer to the trunk. And you can see it's doing that. In fact, I think it's shooting out new growth everywhere, with the exception of one stub there in the left, which I'm probably going to remove anyway. But yeah, it's looking good, and so I'm just going to let it buff out. You can see where I majorly chopped that back, and that is healed quite well. And again, I'm just going to let that growth in the top there work to heal that spot, and then I'll work on that. But this is sort of the mother tree of the forest that I mentioned earlier in this video. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. So next up, we have what I call my island in the sun. It's a little Portar Afra Variegated, and it's grown really well. It's been in this pot for, I don't know, quite a while now. This is another Bunsen pot. It's like a crackle blue, and I pruned this one. I don't know if there's a dedicated video. I think I did it as part of an update. You can see it's got a surface root here that this is new this year. So it's putting down some solid roots. I could probably take this wire off, though it doesn't look like it's cutting in. But I've always just liked this tree. It's a super slow grower, but I've always been really, get a better look at that root. I've always been just charmed by it. So next up we have a windswept I've been working on for a little bit. I love this. It's a crackle kind of lemon pot by Candied Clay here in Seattle. And yeah, so this one I've just been letting it grow. I'm trying to let the bottom grow out because I want to thicken up that bottom branch. And so I'm constantly sort of balancing this one by cutting back, other areas of the tree so that it'll allow the energy to go to that bottom branch. So I'll probably just tune this up a little bit here, take some of these long shoots out, and, just let it grow on. I think that, this tree it's kind of early on. It's not that convincing yet as a windswept, but I keep working on it. I wish I'd taken a picture of this tree earlier on in its development because it looked quite different. It had a huge top on it, which I cut off. There you can sort of see that scar on the right, which is its own wonderful little tree now, which I don't think I've had on the channel yet, but I'll get to it. But yeah, so I'm going to let um, the bottom area just take off on this. Although, I'll do a few tunings here. It's getting a little wild, and like I said, I've had a great response to folks that want cuttings, which I'm happy to share. So, I'll probably get a few out of this tree, and I can send those off to folks that really want them. So I'm going to sacrifice a nice tight look to just get some more growth in this for now. And try to beat back the areas that were growing a bit too much that I don't want to grow, and just kind of let this bottom. Oh, this one's going straight up. I'll take that off, and just let that bottom branch thicken up. And I'll probably bend it a bit with a guy wire because I think I talked about that before, but I never got around to it. But yeah, that's a nice little tree. So the last tree for today is another variegated. This is sort of a semi-cascade. I've always loved this one, and I was really looking forward to pushing its development further this summer. But it really just kind of languished and has only recently started taking off. I'll give you a brief tour of it here, but I just, I like it. I mean, this was almost a throwaway plant I got with a bunch of, it was just a cutting, had no roots, like not a single root. Um, Last I guess it was fall that I had it. So it's done pretty good, but like I said, I wasn't too impressed with the growth this summer. So I'm not going to do much to it. I want it to get really strong and show me that it's ready to move on. But I may there's some long growth that I would like it to thicken up in some of these lower areas. So I'll just take a little bit off of it, but yeah, that's pretty much my summer update. And keep growing your trees. And I think that's about a wrap for this. But I really want to thank you for spending time with me and watching the channel, and your comments and likes. I really enjoy that support, and I look forward to seeing you all again very, very soon.